I'm going to share some typical example key results. Now, these aren't intended to be a single set of key results. They're just separate examples. And as with the objective examples, they don't really make a lot of sense in isolation. Key results really depend on the team, strategy, and context. But hopefully, these will help understand the concepts. Number 1, increase the search relevancy score from X to Y. Now, this is an example from Google where search relevancy score was the main metric we used for defining the quality of search results. And obviously X and Y were real numbers, but I haven't put them here as they don't make a lot of sense out of context. So the point with this is that you're trying to increase the quality of something. And what we're doing here is explaining how we measure quality and what our expected increase is. You could only set this if you really had a good understanding of what kinds of things you've done in the past and what kind of effort makes that result. Number 2, decrease the average page load time from 0.8 seconds to 0.6 seconds. Like the previous one, this captures part of the strategy Google had at the time. Faster results with higher quality makes users come back more often and do more searches, making more money. So we invested in these and focused engineers on finding ways to improve these two metrics. Number 3, maintain a weekly average downtime below 0.6%. This is a quality control key result. And on its own, it's kind of a little bit worthless because what would you do in relation to this? Generally, you just use a metric to track key numbers like this and respond to those metrics. But when you combine it with other key results, such as the ones above, this becomes really worthwhile. And it's one designed to constrain the solution space. So, for example, if you combine this with the page load time one above, you could decrease the page load time to 0.6 seconds, but if that came at the cost of increasing downtime above 0.6%, you'd have to find a different solution. And so it constrains you from implementing low quality solutions. I don't recommend overusing this pattern, but sometimes it helps a lot to focus people on finding high quality solutions. Number 4, decrease onboarding time from 4 hours to 1 hour. In this case, we have to have a well-defined way to measure this. Not only whether we're talking about elapsed time or the time we invest or the time the customer invests, but we need to know, is this something that we're measuring averaged across the last 8 or 10 onboardings, or is this something we're averaging across the last week or month, or is this something just the last one, or is it the average across the quarter? How exactly we're measuring this? And so you do need to know how to define the measurement. You can see this key result to bring onboarding time from 4 hours to 1 hour. However we're measuring it, it's a very significant change, and it's going to require creative thinking, and it has some risk. So it's a great key result for driving creative behavior. Number 5, start measuring ROI per customer per month. Now, this is an example from one of my customers who had inadequate data about ROI per customer and knew this was a critical metric that would be hard to measure. And it wasn't just about inserting some analytics code. They had to engage customer success teams to get the customers to report the spend data, right? So they had the return, but they didn't have the spend data. And it was really worthy of being a full key result just to get this data. Number 6, measure the impact on engagement of 4 new features. So this is an investigation key result, and we clearly want to improve engagement, but rather than saying improve engagement, however you're measuring this from X to Y, we want to say measure the impact of 4 features on engagement. We're trying to find the right inputs, trying to find what it is that's going to deliver an improvement to engagement. And we may get a substantial benefit or a small benefit in engagement, but the point of this key result is actually that we understand better what drives engagement. And number 7, launch a native iOS app by the Apple conference on the date. This is a milestone key result, and it's one of those things that can feel a little bit like waterfall software development, traditional project management and stuff like that. But I'll do this by this date, but there's no measurable outcome. Like we could do this well or we could do it badly. But the thing is, sometimes meeting a milestone by a deadline is actually critical. In this case, which comes from another company, this particular app was actually expected to be announced on stage by Steve Jobs. It's an old example, but that alone would be the most valuable marketing possible. So it was critical to be ready by then. So we've seen some example key results, and you'll note they don't fit the templates like a formula, and that's okay. The purpose of writing these is not to attain perfection in terms of following rules, but to clarify the objective, measure success, and empower your team to work on the right problems. And that's far more important than any rules. In the next video, we'll talk about how to write the key results and some tips for getting them right while possibly breaking some rules.